All right, good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, December 18th, 2025, and this is a meeting of the Milford School Committee. So we're going to start tonight with the student representative update from Emily Jansen.
Hi, everyone. So for starters, we're obviously counting down the days till break, which starts on Tuesday, as I'm sure you all know. And on that Tuesday, we will have our annual Joe B. Band concert during the last two classes of the day, which is one of my favorites. And then from there, we're kind of just looking ahead towards midterms, which is hard to believe. We're almost halfway through the year. But that will start shortly after break. Since this is the last full week before break, Student Council planned a holiday spirit week. Tomorrow is Ugly Sweater Day, I think. I don't know if I have an ugly sweater, but and then the Student Council is also wrapping up the can drive. So hopefully next time I'll have some impressive numbers to share with all of you. Next, just a quick update about sports. So winter season is in full swing, started a few weeks ago, and now we're just starting to get to games and meets and all of that. So girls basketball had their home opener the other night on Tuesday. And we actually have 3 teams this year, which we haven't had a freshman team in 8 years, so that's really good for our program. Boys basketball has their home opener tomorrow night against Stoughton. Boys hockey had their first regular season win last night, I believe, against Grafton. Winter track has their first varsity meet tonight at the track at New Balance, so late night for them. And then swim had their first home meet last week, and both our boys and girls teams won. For the music department, we had a very successful winter concert last night, and it was actually the highest attended audiences we've had since before COVID. So It's great that our program is growing back up again. But now we're looking forward to, we have the band and orchestra vertical concerts in March, and then a new classical concert in February, and that's going to be some choral groups and orchestral groups. Also today, some of our musicians went down to all of the schools, I think, to go caroling. And then we're also getting ready for the winter musical, which is the Addams Family. So we just finished auditions for that. And then lastly, I have some club shout-outs. So the MHS Care Crafts Project donated over 50 handmade cards to Milford Regional for Thanksgiving. And this weekend we're donating, I believe, 80 cards and bracelets to Newton Wellesley Hospital, their pediatric wing. So we're really looking forward to that. And then we just wrapped up our Ben Speaks project. I don't know if you guys know anything about this, but back in the spring, our school was chosen to be the kickoff school for this new nonprofit organization called Ben Speaks. It's an 8-week-long wellness program focused on improving mental health and awareness for it. And we were chosen as the test school for it. So we just finished that up. During Flex Blocks, we had a bunch of different classes you could take, or games. We had intramural sports, yoga classes, wellness, nutrition, art classes, and my favorite that I took was a sports psychology class, so it was very fitting for me right now. And then lastly, Best Buddies has the most amount of members they've had in 5 years, and their events are all very well attended. So they've had 2 dances, pumpkin painting, gingerbread houses, and a holiday party, and now they're getting ready for their spring pageant, which is their biggest fundraiser of the year. And that's pretty much all I have. No complaints or issues today.
I like that last line. Any questions? Comments?
Great update. Thanks, Emmy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the holidays.
Yeah.
Happy
And your
holidays,
break.
everybody.
Yes,
I'm
enjoy
really
your break.
looking forward to it.
Do you have any plans? Or is it just
Nothing big. We'll go to like New Jersey for a day, but
Okay.
we have a basketball tournament that I'll go watch, so not much. But
Any fun plans in February?
for February break?
Just February in general.
February. Oh, I'm going to Spain for the exchange trip, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's like a 2-week-long thing, so that's awesome.
Good for you.
All right. I'm sure we'll see you before then.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me get them.
Yes, please. All right, so our next agenda item tonight will be a recognition for the high school varsity cheerleaders in their recent state championship. Nothing fun.
go, you're on. You gotta come in quietly though, because you're actually on right now.
No.
Okay, we've invited the state championship Milford High School varsity cheerleading team to our meeting today in recognition of their state championship. I think it was last meeting, we also approved their trip to go fight for a national championship, right? There's Caitlin. So I just wanted to invite up the coaches, Heather Johnson and Caitlin McGrath, just to say a few words and see if any cheerleaders want to say any few words too.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us.
Sure.
We're super excited to be representing Milford High School as our Division II state champion. The girls defeated the 11-time reigning D2 state champion, so huge feat. The last time we won states was in 2021, but we were co-ed, so being in Division II, we really fought really hard. They did so well all season. They worked together as a team. Our captains pushed them every single day, and at the end of the day, we took
awesome.
the W.
Good.
As Coach Boucher would say.
That's great. And now you're fighting for a national championship.
Yes, so we are reigning national champions from AmeriCheer. So we are heading there in March to hopefully defend that title again. So thank you for approving us.
It's great.
Appreciate that, yeah.
I don't know if anybody has questions for them.
I'd love to hear.
Everybody.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit about the experience. And do you mix, like, is what you did to win this one will be totally different than what you perform next? Just kind of curious. How that works.
No, so we just started our winter season. So for cheer, it's 2 seasons. So we have our fall, and we'll roll it into the winter with a couple changes. You know, we have a couple people, you know, coming in and out. So it'll be basically the same routine that we're doing during the winter that we'll follow through to nationals when we go in March.
Awesome.
So,
We know
yeah.
you'll represent us well. So good luck, ladies.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, congratulations,
Thank you.
and
Thank
definitely
you.
good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck at nationals.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Hey.
Don't go anywhere. Dr. Consigli is going to take a picture with you.
So is Matt.
All right.
Where are we going to take it?
Wherever you want.
Forever trend, like from
You want to do it here?
I mean, we're rocking some really awesome
I know.
new sweaters.
They are
If
pretty
you
cool.
turn around and give them a quick
My stuff is
how pretty those are.
Are those all handmade?
Yes, I put all the stones on myself.
Oh, thanks. Matt, you see it right over there. What's that?
Was it extra satisfying because you knocked off the 11th one?
Yes.
Yes.
You got it.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Who was the 11-time champion?
It doesn't matter. They didn't win.
Good job, girls. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, next up is invitation to speak, but I do not see anybody here for that. So we'll move on to announcements, correspondence, and distribution. Does anybody have anything to share?
Emily, I guess, stole my thunder with our, we had a visit from the music department today, and they played some Christmas songs, and then we had a chorus group come down. I thought it was great, and I thought that it livened things up in our office anyways. Hopefully it did the same around the schools, so they did a great job. Very good, very well received. And they did an encore performance by request.
Extra credit.
Excellent. All right, thank you for that. For the general chairperson update, I don't have much for the MSBA project other than last Thursday on the 11th. The bids for the OPMs were due, and that process will roll on, from what I understand. So I'm sure we'll get a better update, more thorough as we get closer to OPM selection. We'll move to the SEL.
Designer. That was for the designer.
Is that for the designer?
Architect.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
the
you.
architectural firm. We had five responses.
5 responses. That's
Yes.
good. All right, thank you. We'll move on to the SEL program update with Stacia Copeland.
All right, good night, everyone. I am here to present to you the social emotional learning update for school year 2025. On the agenda tonight, I have SEL across the district, SEL programming in individual schools, the district social workers' work that they're doing across the district, our community partnerships, and looking forward, SEL. All right, SEL across the schools. In Milford High School, the SEL is infused this year through the BENS Challenge that you heard a little bit about earlier. BENS Challenge is a high school initiative that was put forth by Principal Otlin, and this challenge was born out of the partnership between Milford High School and BENS Speaks organization. The BENS Speak Challenge was an 8-week challenge program that encouraged students to improve their overall health and wellness. To capitalize on the efforts of this challenge, it was done during the flex blocks to leverage as many students entering the challenge as possible. Some examples of the challenge were wellness activities such as strength and conditioning, mindfulness, athletics and fitness, and things like table tennis. All of the BENS Challenge activities were completely optional, and students could select to participate in it. At Stacy Middle School, SEL is incorporated within their SOAR block, and that's the Strategies for Outstanding Academic Results block. This occurs on the first Thursday of every month, and the lessons are planned and updated by the Stacy Middle School instructional coach, Alice Holland. Examples of lessons that students are engaged in are lessons around gratitude and perseverance and grit. At Woodland Elementary School, SEL lessons are taught weekly, once a month, using the push-in model during their WIN block. And these lessons are taught by the adjustment counselors at the school, and lessons are developed from the Wayfinder social emotional curriculum. This curriculum is a research-based social emotional curriculum that helps students to really build belonging, purpose, and become future ready. Develop their future ready skills through building their self-awareness skills, adaptability, empathy, collaboration, agency, and purpose. At our K2 schools, Memorial Elementary and Brookside Elementary classrooms, social emotional lessons are incorporated using the responsive classrooms and zones of regulation. And there are many components to these curriculum, to the responsive classroom curriculum, but the K2 schools engage in the morning meeting portions of this curriculum. Some of the things that they are working on in the morning meeting is that they're sharing news, they are practicing academic skills, students are fostering care among each other and respect for their classroom. They also utilize language from the zones of regulation, which is an evidence-based framework that helps students to build emotional regulational skills that they can apply throughout their day. It teaches the students how to sort their emotions into 4 specific zones: blue zone, the green zone, yellow zone, and red zone. All right. At Shining Star Early Childhood Center, the SEL is incorporated using the zones of regulation framework as well. as well as parts of the Second Step curriculum, and the Shining Star staff and their director had developed and created their SEL scope and sequence. And so a lot of their lessons also come from that scope and sequence. Each classroom at Shining Star also has a calm down area in which students can use as a sensory area to go and regulate their emotions when needed. So across the district in general, students are learning and using social emotional language, common language, to help them identify and recognize when they're feeling less regulated. Some form of evidence-based SEL is being used across the district. Although not comprehensive across the district, all students are being exposed to social emotional learning. At Milford High School and Stacy Middle School, there's a Tier 3 mental health support program called the Bridges program. And so the Bridges intervention provides trauma-informed clinical support, academic coordination, family support, and care coordination services for the students who are transitioning back to a full-time schedule after significant mental health disruption. Among other things, has resulted in, loss of learning time. The Bridges Classroom is a Tier 3 student success support program that provides both emotional and academic support in designated blocks within the school day for these students. It offers supports for students and families as they engage on a path towards re-engagement into the academic program. The district social workers. Can you go back to middle school, and just to give you a little bit more here, in the Bridges program, students are, we have at the high school 30 students currently in that program. 10 students are in the full day program and 20 students are in the program at one block of the day. And at Stacy Middle School, there are 6 students currently. These classrooms are staffed by a school psychologist at the high school, a special education teacher, and a paraprofessional. And at Stacy Middle School, an adjustment counselor, a special education teacher, and a paraprofessional. Our district social workers. Since the start of the school year, our district social workers, Anita Amante and Talida Rudahalvo, have consulted on 150 students' cases. They have engaged 800 times regarding these students, and this is a mixture of direct contact with the students and families, as well as consultation to school staff and contact with community providers. They have also made 52 referrals, again in these capacities, which is a mix of mental health services, providing clothing supports, medical insurance supports, housing and utility resources. They continue to provide SEL supports in a number of areas across the school district, including but not limited to monthly area provider meetings, bi-weekly counseling team meetings within each building, supporting students within a counseling capacity here at the Milford High School. They also provide weekly and individual supervision for adjustment counselor, the long-term sub, and currently developing a framework for suicide prevention and intervention that is aligned to the educator goals. SEL and community partnerships. So with this, the district continues to foster and build and sustain, also acquire different community partnerships. For example, we have listed here the YMCA. We continue to maintain our relationships with the Chana 6, which is the Greater Milford Community Health Network, Catholic Charities, Riverside, Edward M. Kennedy, as well as we continue to develop new partnerships with, we just acquired a new partnership with Dell Technologies, and we continue to, and Metro West Food Collaborative. So these partnerships provide us with supports, resources, and help for students and families. We have a formal network as well. As you see the list of partners that were listed, in addition to these that are listed here. These partnerships we meet once a month, and I lead the meetings. Sometimes the social workers support with me leading the meetings as well. And these partnerships, or the network, was established in 2020 out of a requirement from the McKinney-Vento grant. However, we have continued the partnership not just because of the grant, but because of the resources and support and the collaborative effort of all the partners to continue supporting our students and families in the district. Looking forward for SEL. So looking ahead at trying to bridge the gap for all pieces that are currently across the school district. SEL is looking to engage with a comprehensive social emotional screener. These screeners would be able to give us a baseline for where our students are. There are some good screeners that are very low cost or free that we can use, that other school districts are also engaging in, to set a baseline for assessing the students' needs. What you will be seeing, what will be coming your way in terms of budget request, will be a request for the implementation of a comprehensive behavioral intervention system, PBIS. And the goal for this is to, provide vertical alignment across the district, because while we have, all our students are being exposed to some form of research-based social emotional curriculum and aspects of that, we need to align everything in order to support the social emotional growth of our students. And once that is supported, then we can see the benefits of academic growth as well. And that's it.
All right. Comments, questions?
Thanks, Stacey. I really appreciate it. Very thorough update, and it's also super helpful for us to have an idea of what might be coming from a budgetary perspective, so appreciate you taking the time to incorporate that. I was just curious, for the district social workers, how do students sort of end up there? Is that you're typically with the adjustment counselor that then would recommend that, or kind of what's the path to working with a social worker?
It's a variety.
Okay.
The adjustment counselors do some recommendations, but building administrators as well are able to do recommendations.
Okay.
And just from their collaboration at weekly meetings, they are consistently collaborating with building principals and administrators and staff. And so a variety of ways is how the students can end up with the social workers.
It doesn't sound like your needs at this time include any additional human resources to support this. It's more just programmatically. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
That's good.
No, I just wanted to comment. Thank you for the presentation. I really appreciate just getting a little bit more insight as to what's going on. I looked up really quickly the zones of regulations, so something for me to consider as a parent implementing with my child at home. But no, I really appreciate all the hard work that you do and the support that you give. I think what you showed was it makes the whole experience here for students complete. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, not an easy, social, emotional learning, I thank you for all your work throughout the entire district. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
So the next item of business is to review the out-of-state travel request for the MHS Music Department, and this will also require a vote. So in the agenda, there is a packet outlining the trip to Hershey, Pennsylvania. I'll just breeze through it quick. The dates are April 16th through the 19th. Cost per student is roughly $1,000. And if you go down to like the third page, it outlines a little more what the cost is for, including travel and tickets and whatnot. The only other thing I'll call out, obviously, they talk about here about scholarships being available, if necessary, to go through Ms. Pomeroy.
I'd like to add also, this is a trip that we used to do annually, not necessarily to Hershey Park, but we would go to different places around the country with our music department to participate in these different showcases. I think it was around COVID where we stopped going, so we're trying to get back into going to these showcases and allowing our students to compete and participate in these worthwhile events. So I think we fully support it on our end, on the administrative end. So just looking to get the vote to be able to send these kids off and show what they have to the rest of the country.
Excellent.
I'll make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel.
Motion by Brandon. Is there a second? Second by Derek. Any more discussion on this? I see none. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the report of the superintendent of schools. Looks like we're starting with.
Okay, we have two things. We have two things to review that both related, but I don't want to confuse the two because the first one is requires a vote tonight.
Okay.
So the first thing that we're looking at is the competency determination and grad requirements. That's file IKF. I'm not sure. We might have brought it up a little bit at an earlier meeting, but this is something that we revised last year as a result of MCAS as a competency determination going away. The requirements that we had last year, they've added, I would say, significantly more requirements for us. I say they, DESE has added some more regulations that we need to incorporate in our policy. So I have the policy here. I want to go over it, make sure everybody understands what the policy says, so that you can hopefully vote and hopefully vote affirmatively so that we can get this in on December 31st. So the first part, the redlined pieces of it are all the new pieces. But if we go over this policy, the top part in the black ink, I guess, is just the grad requirements. So that's just stating that the grad requirements, basically you need 130 different credits, and all of the credits that you need and all the requirements for graduation will be listed in the student handbook, and that'll be reviewed annually, and you'll vote through the handbook, through the process of voting in the handbook, you'll vote the grad requirements. All right. So that's one piece that determines grad requirements. Largely, it lists out all the different courses that kids need to take, okay? Now, the second piece is the competency determination. So you have the grad requirements, and then you have the competency determination. Now, with the competency determination used to be, that's what MCAS used to say. Like if you pass MCAS, then you pass the competency determination. MCAS went away. We created this bridge policy, I guess, and the policy that we had previously we voted in last year. Competency determination for that policy, it was okay to say, if you pass this class, if you pass this class, if you pass this class, then you've met competency determination. They further provided guidance to say that there's two pieces now to competency determination. The first piece is actually sitting in the class and taking the class. The second piece is showing mastery in the class. So that's the piece really where it's different now. So if we go through this, they've left it at this point. They've sort of left it up to each individual local school district to decide what mastery means to a point, right? Like just sitting in the course doesn't prove mastery. So there were certain parameters that we had to go through. That I think that's highlighted at the bottom of page 1. These are certain things that we could show mastery, right? So a final assessment for a course, a capstone, or an equivalent measured. So if you go through starting on page 2, page 2 talks about this is the actual coursework part of the competency determination, this chart. So 2 years of high school English. In math, you have to have the equivalent of 1 year of Algebra 1 and geometry, and then it lists a couple other different things, but most kids will have the Algebra 1 and the geometry. Also important to note that our students could meet competency determination in 8th grade when they take Algebra 1 in 8th grade. But that's just, again, competency determination. It has nothing to do with grad requirements, so it doesn't actually count as high school credit. They still have to sit for the 4 math courses in high school, but they could meet one piece of the competency determination in 8th grade. In science, kids would have to take either biology, physics, chemistry, or a tech engineering course, and then beginning with the graduating course class of 2027, so next year's graduating class, this year's juniors, they're also going to have to have a competency determination in U.S. history. So the current graduating class does not have U.S. history as a competency determination. All right. Starting on page 3, it talks about the different ways that kids can provide show mastery. The majority of our kids are going to show mastery through final exam. All right. So in English, for example, we're only requiring kids to pass the English 2 final exam. Right. You have to sit for English for the equivalent of 2 courses, but you have to actually show mastery just with the English 2. I guess also important to note if they happen to pass MCAS prior to December 5th, they've already met the competency determination. So that's English. They could also, if they for some reason didn't pass the English 2 final, they could participate in a portfolio review or pass the average of a English midterm and the final exam, and then they could also do a portfolio assessment. In math, if they passed MCAS prior to December 5th, 2024, that's one way. They also have to meet one of the following requirements in both Algebra 1 and geometry. So that's important to know, right? It's both courses. They'd have to pass the final. They could pass the average of the midterm and the final combined. We had this in the English course too. So the lowest they could, if they're in an honors class and they didn't pass the honors final, they could technically take and pass the CP version of the final and meet competency determination, or also participate in a portfolio review of assessments. In science, our current seniors and I think juniors also, right? They took biology as freshmen, so they probably have met, most of them have met the competency determination through MCAS. But moving forward beyond that, if they haven't, they have to pass one of those finals, biology, physics, chemistry, or pass an average of the midterm and final, or participate in a portfolio review. Then the U.S. history, again, beginning with next year's class, they'd have to meet it by passing U.S. history 1, either final exam or a combination of midterm and the final, and then or portfolio review. some things to consider. In our policy, we state here that the principal has the final determination on all competency determinations. There are certain things that we need to consider when we're talking about students with disabilities or English learners, or late enrolling students. So a late enrolling student would be a student who may be transferred into Milford from another state. If they've met competency determination in another district in Massachusetts, that's transferable. So if they come from a different town, they can transfer their competency determination in. But other states don't have the same competency determinations, so we'd have to do some kind of transcript review in order to make that happen. And then the final piece is the appeals piece. So any student that wants to appeal the grad the competency determination requirements can do so through the principal. That includes students who graduated prior to 2024. So if students prior to 2024 didn't graduate because they haven't met the competency determination due to the MCAS, not passing MCAS, they can appeal that decision with the principal. And we can figure it out from there. So I don't know if anybody has specific questions about this policy. We need to pass this policy because it's due to the Department of Education at the end of December 31st. I think important to note is this policy, Carrie Taylor took the lead on this policy. She worked with Josh Otland, the principal. She also worked with all the curriculum team leaders and a number of folks in other districts to ensure that this was, when compared to other districts, there's one other thing. She looked at the current mask policy and what they're recommending, and this falls in line with everything that all the folks that she's worked with have recommended.
This discussion part of this policy, so feel free to throw in anything you got.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to Dr. Consigli and to Dr. Taylor for all of your hard work on this. I mean, this was incredibly difficult. I mean, we've been talking about it in policy for a few months now, since October. And with the shifting landscape and how many different variables there are for each class going forward, this is quite an extensive document, so I fully support it as written, and hopefully it gets passed through at the state level too.
Yeah, there's a lot of different moving parts here. Some that are through the state, some that are not. You know, competency determinations from another town. Like it's we're doing the best we can with what we got, and I appreciate all the hard work.
Kurt, could you speak to sort of how the instructors deal with this like portfolio review of us? Like, is that sort of still TBD, or just curious like how we envision implementing that at a high level? Sorry, I don't need to get to
I think it's a really good question.
Okay.
First, I want to name that in the English language arts, you are seeing under the second bullet a portfolio review of the priority reading and writing assignments, because the ELA department at the high school uses writing with colors, which I know, or I believe you've talked about a little bit here. And so we're thinking that that's one of the portfolios that's already in place, that they're really, there's a comprehensive, cohesive strategy there. So that's why you see that one in there, whereas all the other ones you're seeing a portfolio review of assessments. I think our hope is that we can kind of like check some of these boxes with the easier ones to pull, which will be your final exam. You can look at a number. An average of the midterm and final exam, you can look at a number.
And it's the exception case that you have to go to.
Which is where we're going to think about, like, end of unit assessments are starting to become common across these classes. And so how do we start to keep a portfolio of the kids of these end of unit assessments that then kind of look at their scores on the end of unit assessments to say they've met the minimum passing number that we've hit. But our teachers have not had to deal with this
Yeah.
in the past, and
Sure.
so this does create some
Okay.
need and importance of horizontal consistency, and also some shifts that might have to take place if we're trying to do a portfolio review.
Okay.
To be transparent, I think the hardest portfolio review to do is going to be like our current juniors already took and passed the course of English 1 and English 2 and Algebra 1 and Geometry, and we're going to have to go backwards now and kind of figure out which of these bullets did they
Sure.
meet. Our goal is really flexibility. If the kid is passing the course, we're hoping that one of these competency determinations will be easy to show
Fair.
the mastery piece, but the law does require both to be present.
Got it.
Passing the course is not good enough,
Yeah. Interesting.
according to the rules of DESE.
Yeah, got it. Okay, thanks. And I was just curious for the English language arts, and I apologize, I should probably be more familiar with this. Why do we call it English 2? Is does everyone take that class? Everyone does,
Yes.
no matter
No.
what your path. Because I don't think my kid. I'm like,
Not yet. They
okay,
will be.
got
But
it. Okay.
they, so English 2 is where writing with colors is really integrated. So there's English 1, English 2, and then there's a number of like AP Lang,
Right.
so on and so forth. English 2 is the course that we're going to make sure every kid runs through.
Okay.
All right, because the writing standards are really integrated within English 2, and that's where most of the writing instruction, basic writing instruction, takes place.
Interesting. So that'll be another change starting in the fall that we
It's
start to.
most kids are taking it now.
Okay.
But here's an example. So, for EL students, for example, when they come into Milford High, there's an EL English that also integrates some of the coursework that they have to do. There's that course. There's the second course of that, right? And then hopefully by the time they get to the third year, they're more fluent in English instruction. And what we've been doing is putting them into English, into a different course. So like American Lit or something like that, where really we should be putting them into English 2 to make sure that they're writing instruction that they get can prepare them for the next level.
Okay.
Right? So that would be a shift as an example
Got
where
it.
we would do that.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you. The only other sort of comment I guess I had was I understand this references the handbook in terms of graduation requirements, which that totally makes sense. That gets updated, et cetera. I would just encourage us when we're communicating it to ensure we're giving families all that information, because this doesn't say you need 4 years of math. And I just wouldn't want someone to just look
Right.
at this and say, I've
Right.
met it, but you actually haven't met it. And so I just want to make sure
Right.
we're giving enough information when
So-
it gets communicated that we don't run into that.
Right, and that's
Okay.
that's the tricky part, right? Like I'm trying to highlight that. You got your competency
Yeah.
determination and your grad requirements, right?
But the title, Craig, says grad
Yep.
requirements, but they're not necessarily in here because they're in the
They're not.
handbook. So
They're
just
in the
that we give
handbook.
enough information so
Yep.
that they know where to go. That's all.
Yep.
Okay.
And make sure that and I think we did that this year. I think we did. Make sure the competency determination, I believe, is in the handbook also. So I think most
Okay.
people are gonna look at the handbook anyways,
Excellent. No,
right?
that's great.
But I agree with you.
Okay.
Just make sure that people know to look at the handbook. That's where all
Totally
the
fair. Yep. And to the other
most
comment-
up-to-date information is going to be.
Absolutely. A ton of work went into this. It's an evolving target, so
Yeah.
appreciate all the effort to get us to where we need to be. So thanks.
Any further discussion? All right, so I will open up for a motion to approve file IKF competency determination and graduation requirements. Oh, she's quick. Motion by Megan. Second by Derek. All in favor? There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Now, just when you thought you haven't been thoroughly confused by competency determination and grad requirements,
There's more.
there is more. The governor has put together a statewide graduation council, and really it's to develop new requirements. I've, with the help of my friend Claude, have created this nice cheat sheet for everybody that's kind of taken all of the documents that we have and put them into a nice, I guess cheat sheet's the right way to say it, with all the basic information that you need to know that has come out of the council so far. All right, they just had an interim report. They've been working since this summer, I think it was, that when the group was actually put together. There's a number of different constituencies on this group, including Secretary of Education, the Commissioner of Education, MCIA has a seat on there. There's a number of businesses that have a seat on this council. The superintendent's group has a seat on the council. The school committee group has a seat on the council. So there's a number of different constituencies that have helped prepare what we have so far. All right. It's important to note that these are only recommendations thus far. I think they're opening it up to kind of rolling these out and listening to what folks have to say about all these different proposals. But I just want to review for you what this 7-component framework is looking like currently. The first thing is this program of studies. Some call it MassCore. We follow generally MassCore with us, so this doesn't represent a huge change for us. So when in our original policy here, when we talk about grad requirements, what you see here is basically what's in our grad requirements. All right, these make up the components of the 130 credits plus a number of electives. Okay. I think the problem that we're going to find as we open up a new school with 9 to however many Chapter 74 programs is that we're going to probably have to look at this, because I'm not sure how we're going to be able to fit all of our Chapter 74 programming and with all of these requirements also. I think that's one of the limiting factors of having MassCore. It could present a barrier for a number of different groups of learners too, like particularly English learners and students with disabilities. So that's the first part of it, that every district in the Commonwealth will follow this basic program of studies. That's their first proposal. Second are these end of course assessments. So basically, they would take the place of MCAS, and they would be state created, like basically I don't want to say final. They're end of course assessments that supposedly aren't high stakes, so you supposedly don't have to pass them in order to graduate. But if there's no real meat on it, I'm not sure if kids are going to take it seriously and what we're actually going to get out of it, because we still would be required to give a final for a kid too, because we couldn't use this as a grade. So kids would basically take this end of the course assessment, and they would also take a final. So that's something that doesn't feel very good, that we're kind of testing them twice. So that would be one of the things. I also think that our teachers, when they don't have say in the way an assessment looks, that's very problematic. We want our teachers to be involved in the assessment, in creating the assessments, because that's how you plan your course, right? You plan backwards. You work from the assessment where you want kids to be, and you work backwards from there. And we want our teachers to be involved in creating those assessments. So I think our teachers would agree. They want to be involved in that kind of a thing. So that's the second piece. The third is this idea of a capstone project or a portfolio. And in theory, I think it's a great idea. In practice, I have no idea how we're going to pull that off. And I think that's the furthest from being implemented statewide, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of many others. Like, there's so many questions around trying to create this capstone project. There aren't. I don't know if we can point to any districts that are currently doing this across their student body, at least the size of Milford High School or beyond, or larger. But you know, questions of like, what course does this live in? What subject area is it in? Who's teaching that course? Like all these different things that you just sat and thought about the idea of capstone projects and kids completing them. It creates all these different questions, at least in my mind. So that's the third. This idea of MyCap, which is career and academic planning. You all just passed our CTE awareness policy. I think it was last meeting, the middle school one. Embedded within that, it talks about MyCap and opening up MyCap to the middle school students so they can begin this career and academic planning. But I think in order to do it well, it's going to take more staff. In order to do MyCap, somebody's got to sit with the kids and sort of talk through what they're finding out and where they want to be beyond graduation. Currently, our guidance counseling staff in the middle school, there's one for the entire class. So there's 325 kids in each grade and one guidance counselor. So I don't know how feasible it is for one guidance counselor to sit with every single student and start career planning with everyone. So that's certainly one drawback that I see with that. I'm sure there's others, but that's definitely one. The fifth part of it is that every student will complete the FAFSA and MAFSA, and the hope is that it'll increase college enrollment and help families be aware of the financial opportunities open for them. I just don't know how we're going to get every kid to fill that information out. There is a financial literacy requirement. We have a financial literacy course right now. We're revising it and trying to make it better, and trying to get more students through it. We've talked about it over the last couple of years, especially at when it comes time to budgeting. We believe that this is a important component of our students' experience here at Milford High School, but even starting below at Stacy Middle School. So we're definitely supportive of that. But we also know that the more courses that we require kids to take, it eats away at their elective choices, right? So if it's another course requirement, that's one less elective that they get to take. And then the seventh piece is this idea of seals of distinction. We currently have a seal of biliteracy. Every year we have students that have the seal of biliteracy that's on there. This would be sort of, I guess, like that. It's unclear as to what it actually will mean beyond high school, beyond graduating with this seal of distinction, but or like in what regard colleges might have if you have these seals of distinction. That's unclear, but I guess time will tell, and we'll see where we go with that. There are also some critical questions to think about. I've kind of touched upon I think most of these throughout our conversation here, and then some definite timelines and next steps. The final report is due at the end of this school year, so in June. Beyond that, I think it's all TBD. It's unclear as to whether or not these 7 components are going to be in the final recommendations. It's also unclear as to the financial implications of all these different things and where the funding is going to come from. I'm afraid that it's going to be left to local districts to try to fund all these different ideas. And it's going to be challenging if it's left up to us. So I guess time will tell. I've also heard you know, from the commissioner, I've been in meetings with the Secretary of Education. They're looking at this as being not as like a next year kind of a rollout, but a multi-year process. Even I've heard up to even 10 years in implementing this thing in its full ideation, but iteration, I guess. But again, time will tell. I'm not exactly sure where this is going, but I wanted you all to know this is what came out of the recent report. Hopefully there'll be a time for us to give some feedback. If anybody has feedback, I'm certainly, I could certainly take that and pass it along, but this is where we are currently.
Any comments on that?
Should we go back to MCAS? Just feels like there's a spectrum and there's a lot. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the update. It's
Yeah,
interesting
thanks.
to know that that's the conversation.
That's a big update that I think is gonna keep rolling on, and we'll keep getting updates, obviously, so. thank you.
Yes. And we're probably gonna have to revise this again at some point.
Excellent. Be ready. No. All right, we'll go on to the report of the school business administrator next.
Thank you very much. I attached the budget update and the personnel update for your information. For the budget update, I don't see any real concerns or highlights in the budget right now. I was going over the deficits. So in school committee line, the deficit was because of the postage, which was historically charged to school committees, contract services. As I previously reported, we have like quite a bit increase this year because of the MCAS big envelopes and the U.S. postage rate increase. So I increased the budget by 50%, hopefully. I don't know if we can go through this year because the big progress report is going to be sent out recently. I don't know. I was heard there was a big mailing needs coming soon. So we'll see. We'll see. Next year we have to adjust the postage budget. And the Family Resource Center, they have a relatively small supplies line. And this year they brought me, usually they just buy their supplies in a smaller quantity. And this year they need to buy more of the student records folders. And they said if they buy over 4,000, they can get the 25% discounts. And I said, okay, this is within budget, and if you have space, go ahead and buy it. But I didn't know they had 2 of everything, so it's a little over budget right now, but it can last them for the next couple of years. Some Christmas shopping spirit going on. Then the rest of the deficit is was reported before, mostly due to the offset. I haven't applied offsets, so that's it. Any questions? Yes.
I have one question.
Yes.
So I noticed the heating and buildings budget line item seems to be in the deficit, and I did see one of the bills just happened to flip through
Sure.
for the high school.
Yeah.
And apparently from this December to last December, to 2024, our heating is up 44% just in this building.
Happens to the families too.
Yeah, exactly. And that was like just usage. That wasn't like just like simply the dollar
usage.
amount.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So the
Okay.
usage was significantly up. So maybe if we just close a few more doors around here.
Okay.
I'm being a
No,
little
that's a good
facetious,
find,
but yeah,
yeah.
no, like that. If you could somehow find, I don't even remember which
Okay.
warrant that was through, but it was usage. It wasn't dollar amount.
I see.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not really sure what.
Carlos in his facilities maintenance workers, I mean, I think you can notice in here, they're working really hard to make sure that every heating unit is actually working. I think that might be part of what you're seeing. That
Things are actually working.
Things are
That's
now.
what happens when heat works, yeah.
yeah.
Got it.
We can go back.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
cool.
I think that's what you're seeing,
Big
though.
expense.
My dad says.
It's a very fancy system to control all the heating units. I'm sure he's on top of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just I just happened to.
We can
put
show
two
the
and two
data
together.
to him. Maybe he can
Yeah.
explain better
It's
what
I
happened.
don't necessarily need an explanation. Just happened to notice
Yeah,
the
yeah,
two
yeah.
things. Yeah. Other than
Yeah.
that, thank you.
Yeah, good finding.
All right. Thank you. All right, we'll go on to the the consent agenda now. We have 4 items for this this evening. I'll start with asking if anybody had any changes to the minutes. Excellent. All right, so this consent agenda is going to include the following: the approval of 10 warrants in the amount of $630,961.62. The approval of minutes from the December 4th, 2025 meeting. Professional development in the amount of $10,335. And the approval of grants. There's 1 grant for the total of $25,000. Motion to approve. Motion by Brendan. Second by Derek. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we will move on to future agenda items. Does anybody have anything to add to the list? No?
Yes, I do.
What do you got?
Hold on, I'm just opening. In January, shortly, I don't remember when, within the next couple weeks, the department is gonna make public the newest discipline reports. I think that in January I want to provide the just the committee and folks at home an update on behavior, conduct, and some things that we're seeing, especially at the elementary level, and then sort of look at what our reports say. So I think that's something I want to see what the reports would look like first. So I probably will do it at the end of January. But that's something I think I want to bring to the committee and have a discussion around.
Thank you.
Craig, when you do that, can you go back a couple years, just sort of from a data
We'll see.
standpoint, but then also from a just observationally? I'm
Sure.
curious how they align from a.
Well, let me see what it looks like, and then
Totally.
we'll see what we can grab off of
Okay.
off the website. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll talk about it.
Thank you. All right. Just note that down. That brings us to adjournment. We do not have any executive session scheduled, so we just need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Megan, second by Brendan. All in favor. Thank you very much. Good night.
Yeah.